Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Psychedelic Experience Record Run. I am Nick, Beat Nick.
Oh boy.
This is my mild-mannered Midwest tour manager, Steven Just Steve Gossman, and we're gonna go through some of our recent record finds, or in some cases, not so recent record finds. Man. So we haven't been here in a while.
It's been a minute or two.
It's been a minute or two since a video, so hello again, YouTube. Our apologies to those of you who have asked for a lot from us and we've given nothing.
Yeah. That's how this relationship works.
Yep, pretty much. Actually, I'm gonna wrap up a little bit of last summer's big vintage vinyl haul.
Same here.
Okay, so the record that I paid the most for, actually, in last summer's vintage vinyl haul, Lazarus.
Yeah.
And this is one, jury is still out almost a year later. I don't know if I'm holding on to this.
Oh wow.
Again, it was the thing I paid up the most for. I paid 30 bucks for it, and that was over the course of, I think, our 2 weeks there. So,
yeah.
In any case, gatefold, don't really know what's going on there. It's also it's Amazon Records. Alright, I really can't see anything. And it's like their first record ever. It's number 1001. It's one of those things where you look at the cover and you're like, oh man, the first record this company pressed, it's probably amazing. And you're like, it's a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
Don't know what else to say about it. So if there's anybody out there who's like this desperate for this one and wants to propose a trade, I'd be open for it.
Alright, so I'm just showing all vintage vinyl stuff from last summer's haul. It has been almost a year and we're doing it, so
yay!
Doesn't matter. First two I'm showing, I did show in my top 10 of last year, so if you've seen that video, you've seen this. But this is Grapefruit, around Grapefruit with the, I love the cover right here with like the melted spoon and the cigarette burning on the grapefruit there. This is wonderful. Beatles-esque pop psych. I don't know what else to say about it. For a lengthier review, check out the top 10 video. Real quick though, Yesterday Sunshine and I believe Dear Delilah. I may be wrong on that one, but for sure Yesterday Sunshine. Definitely the standout track on this one. And yeah, wonderful. And I think I paid like 17 bucks for this, so pretty awesome.
This one, also from that vintage vinyl haul, like this one a lot though. Actually actively looking for their other one. Eyes of Blue, Crossroads of Time. This one I dig. I'm looking for In Fields of Ardath.
Yeah. I'm jealous of this one.
Oh, this is such a good record. I like almost everything on here, but if I recall, standout track. Oh, they do a great 7 and 7 Is on the first side.
Yeah.
Like Crossroads of Time, the first track, and Prodigal Son. And then on side 2, they do a Yesterday cover, and the sort of, I don't know, longer jam on that one is Love is the Law. Happy to pick this one up for a Jackson, and I'm looking to get that Fields of Ardath for the same price there.
Yeah, that's very cool, man.
Yeah, I recommend this one a lot. A little bit bluesier, but pretty cool stuff.
Gonna make love, not war. We ain't gonna fight.
Alright, my second one from the top 10. This is the Mickey Mark Men from Sweden with the Running in the Summer Night. Very Hendrix-esque, kind of bluesy psych. Just really hard and heavy. Great guitar work on here, some keyboard stuff going on. Yeah, this is not yacht rock like the cover would suggest.
The cover is so yacht rock. The cover is straight up 1978.
It's Kenny Loggins, man. The long lost Kenny Loggins album cover. But no, this is wonderful. This is deep. I am looking for their first album.
Yes,
big
2 LPs from them that get really, really high ratings. And
tasty.
This is the one. Obviously, you gave the recommendation. You put it in your top 10 of last year, but their first one looks pretty darn cool as well. And look at that label. Yeah. Show that label, baby.
It is on the
Limelight. Staying with that bluesier, but maybe getting a little bit more country rock here. Also picked up a copy of unwritten works of Chaucer, of Geoffrey, etc., with Whistler, Chaucer, Detroit, and Green Hill.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
Of a title.
Mellow Yellow and I are lamenting the fact that this is actually a reference point in an episode of Gilmore Girls.
Yep.
Gilmore Girls. Gonna say it again. Not a great show.
No.
Not a knock on the cast or the talent there. All fine stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I'm not gonna say a bad word whatsoever about either of those ladies.
Well, I'm sure they're lovely ladies in real life, but the acting is a little...
It's a what was that network even? The WB, yeah. It's a WB day drama, but it's in the evening, but whatever, I don't know. Anyway, we're cutting this out.
If you know all cannot keep something out.
Now to the stuff you haven't seen. No videos, this is their debut in the videos. First up, the new mix, paid $9.99 for this. This is one kind of going back about 8 different times to vintage vinyl.
Sure.
And making note of different things. It was like, I don't know what this is, and it's cheap.
Right.
I need to check into this.
I've seen this one go for a ton of money, too.
It's creeping up a little bit. I think this was under the radar, and now it's kind of going up. I think right now on Discogs, the average is like $30, $35, somewhere around there. The Endless Trip was really big on it, and I was like, all right, for $10 I'll pick it up and see how it is. It's wonderful. It is fantastic. Kind of a mixture of pop psych and just kind of straightforward psych rock. The cover kind of makes it look proggy. I don't know, it's kind of a weird cover. It kind of throws you off of what the contents are within, but this is just very, very well done pop-oriented psych rock, and I can't recommend it enough. Ursula is a really good track. Sundown and Doorway to an Open Light, and then the closing track, Follow Me, is very good as well.
Doorway to an Open Light, man. And then one that I really, really like is what, Are you aware of the Blue Mountain Eagle?
Yes. I forgot you picked this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was a, if not sealed, shrink-wrapped copy. I did take the shrink wrap off. Got it for good old $17.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Solid.
Very solid. I don't think I need to say too much about this. Blue Mountain Equals one. Definitely worth your time in seeking out. Really great mix of the harder blues and the psychedelic stuff. It's just, it's right on point, man. Atco Records knew what they were doing when they signed these guys. I mean, really good stuff here. There have been reissues lately. I know it's not as difficult to find as it was once thought to be, but to find an original that was still in the shrink wrap, I was through the moon for little Blue Mountain Eagle there.
Alright, fun little story on this one. Our buddy Nick here in town had actually picked up a copy for me at GB's for like $10. You know, picked it up, I paid him back kind of thing. And then maybe 2 weeks later, this was at Vintage Vinyl, a little bit cleaner, for like $12 or something like that. Face to Face is still up there pretty high for me, but man, this is good. This is really good. Death of a Clown, Love Me Till the Sun Shines, Lazy Old Sun, Afternoon Tea, End of the Season, and closing track, Waterloo Sunset,
man.
Closing track of an album. It's phenomenal. This is a little bit later issue, I think.
Oh, whatever.
Early 70s.
Yeah, fine.
But it's very clean and getting ever so closer to taking off all those essential Kinks records.
Alright, I'm jumping ahead a little bit to early March of this year. There are things certainly that I bought in the interim, but I wanted to go over some of my New York City finds. Another good year of shopping, not the best I've ever had. This is kind of the low end of this. This is one I think I'm going to be getting rid of. If you like the countryside of psychedelia, this one is for you. I tend to not really like those things to be as matched up, unless it's the Birds, really.
Right, yeah.
But the Salvation Co., this is Earl of Rustin. I really only enjoy one of the cuts on this. Earl was ahead.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one, but it's one track in 10. that I really enjoy. So I think I'm gonna purge this one. But if you do like that country element of psychedelia, I would say this one's for you. So keep that in mind.
This next one I picked up on maybe the last trip I had made there with this stuff, kind of the leftovers.
How many times did you go?
I honestly don't know. It may have been, like 8 times may not be an exaggeration. But this was in their new arrivals kind of little section, you know, where they have stuff to take out. And I was like, oh, this looks like it's from that same collection. It was $10. But this is Fresh Air with the album A Breath of Fresh Air. It's kind of a tough one to describe because it hits on a few different genres. It's mainly in a harder vein, some straight psych, some a little bit West Coast / country influenced. For example, the opening track is a cover For What It's Worth, but it's sped up and it's done a little bit heavier. There are a couple of soft tracks that you're like, oh, they should have left that off. But overall, boy, this is a nice underrated little gem.
Yeah. A little bit softer here. This is The Best of Tom Northcott. I don't know a ton about this guy. Obviously, cover is super duper cool there. It implies that it's way more psych. The picture on the back of Tom there probably is a more accurate representation of the music within. Still, I will say this does a great cover of Bob Dylan's Girl of the North Country, and then he does do some Donovan stuff on here as well, cool. Some Harry Nilsson, and I really do end up liking the, and some Goffin and King as well as some Leonard Cohen. So he was kind of a, again, minstrel, songster, kind of collector of the recent American songbook, but doing it in a softer style. Some of this is really good. And so I am going to keep hold of this one. Got this one in the Village at crazy old music shop. I swear one of the members of the Fugs was working down in the basement. And I got this for $5. So
very cool.
Holding on to it. Holding on to it.
One of the last couple trips I made too. The
Love
Canterbury
this.
Prog scene.
Love it.
Caravan of the Land of Grey and Pink. I really didn't know if I was gonna like this because I don't care for prog that much, and this is proggy, man.
Dude, it is. It's more than tendencies.
It is.
Yes.
It is. This is more prog than not. But it's great.
It's awesome.
It is wonderful.
It's so good.
It's got enough of that pop element, kind of the softer British kind of thing going on that it makes the prog palatable.
Right, and the cover is so prog.
It is beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful, but it's so prog on the outside. The back, there's like a castle.
Yeah, this looks like a Tolkien book cover, you know?
Dude.
Yeah.
Straight up. This is some long bottom leaf here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I paid $16.99 for this.
Nice.
This is great. Golf Girl, the opening
Golf
track
Girl,
is so
man.
good.
It's so good.
Winter Wine is really good. And then, is it side 2? 9? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
kind of big sweet. Yes. Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like a little prog.
It started raining golf balls.
Another New York find. Nice clean copy of the Bee Gees' Idea. Not their best album, but certainly one worth having there. Boy, I'm gonna go ahead and say, Gotta Get a Message to You is the big hit off of this one. But side 2 has some cool stuff too, When Swallows Fly. I've decided to join the Air Force. Controversial message from '68 there. But I don't know, that early Bee Gees stuff, it still hits me well.
Yeah.
And you can find it for relatively cheap. In any case, do love me some Bee Gees, some early Bee Gees, and so Idea is one that you gotta pick up.
I believe I picked this up on our second trip, our return trip to the Vintage Hall. This is the Rockets, also known later as Crazy Horse. They were Neil Young's backing group. This was their first album as the group The Rockets. It's wonderful. This is definitely kind of in a country rock vein through half of the album, kind of what you'd expect from Crazy Horse, and the other half is wonderful psych rock. Specifically the track Pills Blues on side 2, track 3 on side 2. Great acidic psych rock, some great kind of bluesy guitar work going on, a lot of phasing, a lot of stuff going on. This is one I almost didn't even grab. They had like 4 copies of this.
Oh, did they really?
All at $20 each. which is what I paid for this. And I was like, well, they've got 4 copies, I can get it on a return. I was like, no, you know what, I want to buy it. And the week after, the rest were gone. All gone. Fantastic. Yeah, if you're in the kind of country rock scene, or if you're a big Neil Young fan, this is definitely one to check out.
Then my sort of surprise find from the New York City trip. Now, I am not a huge Paisley Underground dude. Sometimes that 80s psych doesn't really do it for me. But super glad that I picked up the Marshmallow Overcoat and their album Try On the Marshmallow Overcoat.
What a cool cover.
Yes, this one, it's one of those things where a lot of 80s psychedelia, it just doesn't have the right feel. This has
like
the
not raw enough.
Right.
Yeah.
This has the right feel, but it has that problem with production, where the production is just a little too clean, and you're like, everything is right about this but the production. And so I just, look at that freaking cover, man. That's the back. Super, super good songsmithing on this as well. You can tell it's 80s, but they do it right. I don't know what else to say. So I like this one a lot. Definitely worth your time checking this out.
That's cool. Alright, this was, again, towards the tail end of my return trips. I don't know if this was just held back or if this was from a different drop-off, but...
I think this was from a different drop-off, or it was later, because I don't remember this being in there.
No, and I found this in the Pretty Things section. It wasn't even with the weird stuff. It was just kind of in the regular
very
bits.
nice, okay.
Yeah, I always check the Pretty Things section because you never know. And this was sitting in there waiting for me. This is Parachute, their follow-up to SF Sorrow. Oh, man. This is just... wonderful. I love this record. SF Sorrow still edges it out. It's a little bit better, a little more in that kind of pop psych vein. This gets a little bit harder than SF Sorrow does, but it's still kind of in that same sort of British pop psych vein. But a few tracks, like there are a couple tracks that are almost straight hard rock on here. Yeah, highly recommended. This is great. I think I paid $15 for this.
Very nice.
15 or 16 bucks, and it's very good.
Not much to say about this one, just because most people know it, but glad to tick it off the list. Eyes of the Beacon Street Union, man. This one, I'm trying to think of what my favorite track on this one is, and it's tough to pick. It does have that standard MGM label, nothing super crazy about this one, but oh gosh, let me say, I do love the recitation that begins the whole record. Ooh, man, is it South End Incident on side 2 that's a little harder and heavier? Yeah, good stuff there, good stuff there. Okay, so Eyes of the Beacon Street Union is a must-have. You picked it up in Texas a couple years ago. I was really glad to finally check this one off my list.
That is really cool.
How can they know?
This was maybe on the first trip there, definitely second trip.
I think you bought this early.
Yeah, it was very early. First or second trip. Fillmore Lincoln, The North Wind Blew South. Boy, this had been on my want list for a while. Love the back. Look at him in that that top button open down the middle.
He and Winter K Frog, man, they could Paisley it off.
Yes, they could. This is a pretty enjoyable album. It's a mixture of kind of folk rock, folk psych, and just almost kind of just straight pop numbers. The North Wind Blew South, though, the title track, the opening track, is a wonderful, wonderful piece of folk psych. But overall, just a very, very good pop and folk album. And so if you're kind of into, not quite as folky as like Dylan, you know, it's more folk rock. So if that's kind of your thing, if you're looking for a nice singer-songwriter fare with some psychedelic flourishes, this is definitely one to seek out. I paid, I believe, $17 for this one, so really happy to have it. It's super clean.
All right, and then sort of the find of New York City here, Quill.
Yeah, man.
Found this one in Brooklyn with a $30 price tag on it. Snatched that baby up. Unipack. But this one's on Cotillion. Man, this is, it's deep. It's one of those ones where one track, I don't know that they're necessarily not banded, but they feel like they flow into each other really quickly. Whole album experience here from Quill. I'm just gonna give you a sense of that cover there, boy. It's like an amoeba just in the ether. Ooh. I love this, man. This is a huge find for me, so really happy with this. Again, props out to the Cotillion label for their signings in the late 60s. They crushed it, and this is a great example of the psych they were recording at that time.
Also an early find. I'm gonna say second trip.
Second trip?
I think so, because the first trip I was like, oh, they have all this kind of stuff, I hope they have this album. And then they didn't have it. I was like, oh, I'm disappointed. And then the second trip was like, they have it, oh my gosh, mind blown. I think 15 bucks, I'm not positive. Definitely under 20 for Richard Twice.
Yes.
Very nice, Richard Twice.
Very nice.
This is wonderful, and this is one that's creeping up in value big time.
Really?
It's tough to find this under 50 bucks now.
Really? Wow.
The opening track, Generation 70, and the track, If I Knew You Were the One, are the two kind of stand out. It's probably the most well-known tracks off of this album. Generation 70 has some really nice kind of fuzz guitar, and then If I Knew You Were the One is almost kind of a little bit folky in spots, but kind of a floaty, psychedelic track. Very, very good stuff. And then overall, just very good rock kind of music. This is fantastic. I'm super happy to finally have this and not have to chase it down online anymore and be disappointed when I lose out on auctions at the last minute.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck in your own digs. Can you dig it? And we will see you next time on another Record Run video, hopefully sooner rather than later like last time. Until then, avoid scratches and stay in the groove.